I am Masculinity Architect Duwayne Langham. This is the Ave, Yolo Ave, the road leads travel, and you have just tuned in for another Sugar Shred update. This is day 17, Thursday. And just like I said, yesterday's video, you see me getting these 10K steps in, see the new cuts and veins coming in. This morning's weigh-in 241 after my protein and starch day. Dialed in all the food, stuck to the budget. I want to say came in at about 1,800 calories. Actually, had drinks as well last night. So I'll say probably right about 1,900, just an extra cup of juice and whatever for the liquor. Feeling good, looking good. Like I said, the response, the snapback this week, the progress, everything lined up. And today, I'm getting the 10K steps in early, in advance, because I'm hitting the road as soon as I get back in the house, packing, heading back to Georgia for a couple of weeks, take care of some business, some meetings. And so, but I saw a great video yesterday about this diet that I wanted to share to get past the glitz and the glam. Why the sugar fasting, why the sugar diet might not work for you. So the basis of sugar fasting, sugar diet. Don't think avoiding sugar. I know that's the normal conversation, especially if you've never heard of this. Think about same way you water fast, sugar fast. You're only eating sugar. And with that, simple, ideally natural sugar sources, but you can get it from anywhere. That would be honey, fruits, juices, table sugar. And like I said, you can have it. It's not ideal. Sugar, pop, sodas, candies. I haven't explored with that, but it is all technically in line. So sugar dieting is adding in the evenings, right? That's your routine during the day. Ideally, give a couple of hours to let that burn off. Doesn't take too long. And in the evening, having lean protein and starch does slow down the rapid fat loss. That's the sugar diet. Sugar fasting is fasting and no different than water fasting. That's what's going to work the most efficient. And I will say, I touched on it before, protein fasting, sugar fasting, water fasting, they're all the same practice, basically eliminating macronutrients between your carbohydrates, protein, fats, the three main macronutrients that are worth tracking to get your nutrition together. Whenever you take two of them out of the mix, typically hormones going to kick off FGF21, fat burning, ketosis, a lot of functions going on, prioritizing fat loss. Now, why this might not work for you, why that whole routine, as simple as it is, might not work for you, is your metabolic state. So you can get all the numbers, you can get all the facts, you can get all the information. This is why you need, and I always say and promote, YOLO, you only live once. This is about your life, your journey. You're watching mine, not everybody else's. It's not yours, right? Say that to say, two factors that this video was talking about yesterday. I need to start actually memorizing the names and titles. She wasn't a sugar creator, sugar fasting creator. Is actually along health, wellness, health coach. So, two factors: fitness, metabolic state. When I say metabolic state, is your gut health in check? Can your insulin resistance and sensitivity have all those things been properly, to a homeostasis basically? Are you neutral? Can your body function how it needs to function? The modern Western diet, sedentary lifestyle. That's where the other part was talking about activity. So a couple of things that have been noticed, a couple of the headliners. You're seeing all kinds of people do it. And because it's just a natural bodily function, it works for everyone in different ways. There is optimization and prerequisites. The prerequisites, that's the metabolic state I'm referring to. So getting science out of the way, just looking at if you've got any health conditions, in which I always preach, go see a professional, go see your doctor, make sure you are in line for what you're doing, or operate at your own risk. This is your temple, you got to take care of it, you only live once. If your metabolic state is not intact, if what you've been eating, what you've been digesting has not left you primed and ready for, you may need to start off with some general water fasting. You may need to start off, another reason, your eating habits, mentality, the discipline to not eat certain things. I talked about playing with the macros. You can do all kinds of diets to effectively get results. Lost 100 pounds with different diets, lost 30 pounds this year with different diets, and now I've lost 10 pounds already with the sugar diet. This is my second diet. Diet is not a program, a temporary thing. It is your nutrition, actually changing up everything I eat. That's why I keep talking about exploring, because I'm now looking at all the things I mentally boxed away that I can now enjoy. So with that being the case, what that points to, inside of all these diets, inside of all these weight loss experiences, I have had food discipline for some time now, years now. I have had my body switch its metabolism to be fat adopted for years now. I have been plant-based, giving my body a break from meats, paying attention to the flavors, the reactions, the responses. I haven't even been on dairy, and that hasn't really been intentional as of late. And just looking at, well, do I need it back? Like that relationship to food being first and foremost a priority. If you have that in check, because other ends of the spectrum, I want to give you guys as much information as possible so that you have framework and context to think for yourself, make your own decisions. If you don't have food discipline, when you eat, what you eat, that's going to make it hard to adhere. It's also going to make the temptation. It's also going to make the cheating, also going to make the yo-yoing. And I say this all from experience. Everything I'm talking about that gives success is everything I've done to have the failures, to have the hiccups, to have the actually experiencing, the lack of progress, experiencing the frustration. 27 years, fam. I wanted to get in shape since I was 13. This has been a lifelong commitment. So if you're not willing to do that, maybe you're not willing to have it. Now I'm here. All the lessons I've learned along the way, all this that I'm unmasking, this is not from 10 days. This is not from 6 months. This is from fucking years and decades of putting in the work. So first thing, that metabolic state. You're going to need to get yourself balanced. You can do that naturally. I would advise to seek professional help. And at the same time, it's really just the best thing when I say water fasting, the most natural, the most purest thing. Dry fasting even, but explore and experiment with what you can handle, because even inside of water fasting, you have coffee, things that don't stimulate anything, let alone that don't stimulate digestion, don't stimulate glycemic response. That's how you get the insulin balanced out. Like, these are all concepts and principles. I'm not going to take you through the science, because you need to know and grow and learn your knowledge of your own body so that you can responsibly go down your journey and find it. But you got to be ready to do that. You got to be ready to explore. That's why I say don't do a diet. Don't do anything temporary. Do a lifestyle that has you healthy. Do a lifestyle that has you, before you get on a 7-hour road trip, go get your steps in. Goddamn, sugar shred, bitch. It just becomes natural. So moving on to part 2 of why this is becoming effective, or a factor that makes it effective. Got to have the metabolic, because if what you're putting in the system ain't burning right, the whole thing is fat. Stored fat is energy. That's all your weight is. That's all the scale is. That's all the food is energy. What you're consuming, what burns off. And if you're putting literally sugar in the tank and your car ain't tuned for that, if you need some electric, if you need some good old gas, if you need some nitrous, if you need some sugar, if you need some diesel, whatever it is, right? If you're putting that wrong thing in there, you're not going to go anywhere. Second part, going, activity, moving, 10K steps. I don't just talk it, I walk it, people. Activity level. All the people you're seeing, majority of the people, especially if they're already coaches, if they're already trainers, if you're looking at Mark Bell, if you're looking at Cole Robinson, you're looking at myself, active lifestyle. I told you I'm a regular guy. I've just been living a regular life doing this thing, the discipline of going to the gym, being active, being open, biking, running. Started that at 36. What's your excuse? Start when you need to. Walking. I haven't been into these things. I've avoided cardio, hence a 27-year journey. But once you get to it, nothing but to do it. So with that, you're consuming sugar. You've heard me talk about things. The first part was the nutrition. Why I haven't done candy, sugars, refined, and processed stuff is because I've grown accustomed to all natural, single ingredients, touching my food before I put it in my body, getting in tune with what I'm putting in my body. If I can't read it on the label, I don't need it in my body. So to the same regard, that's why I've also spoken to having sugar late in the day. I'm active. I can get 10K steps before 10 a.m. I can get in the gym, get an hour, stimulate the glycogen, stimulate everything. Consume. I've already had my morning routine, including I'm switching over to tea, because I really don't have a reason to have coffee, except I like coffee, but I'm looking at hydration levels, especially with the level of sodium I've got to balance out with all the fruit. So anyway, I'm looking at having 200 grams of sugar before noon. However, I'm only having 300 for the day. That's about my average total on the sugar fasting days, now that I've got my diet dialed in, what calories I want to be at. Also to that, we're 16 to 1800, just a side note, 16 to 1800 calories is a struggle to stay inside of and be satiated, not have cravings, because I'm getting so much sugar, because there are no sugar or sweet cravings, and I'm getting to eat all day. I'm getting to eat things I love. Sticking to 1500 calories is easy. Actually, what I've dialed in today is so far 800 calories, and I know I won't need anything else, and I'm only going to be in a car driving, so there's no activity. Probably with that, we're gonna experiment today. Get a juice on the road. Might try a Slurpee. You know, I might try that refined sugar. I'm on the road trip. What type of food have I always ignored? Experiments, explore. But coming back to that last point, activity. All the people that you're watching, look at their activity levels. If your lifestyle is still sedentary, not just sitting on the couch, maybe you're stuck at work, stuck at a desk, stuck seated, whatever it is that's making your lifestyle a struggle, it'll still work. Studies have shown with a healthy metabolism, metabolic state, able to use it, it will still require more energy because it ramps up the metabolism just naturally. It puts the body in the state to do that with no additional activity. You add activity in there, that will assure you. Compounded with all the food stuff I was talking about, having discipline, knowing when and what you're putting in your body, how much of it, great. And if you can add that with the activity to burn it off, it'll be gone in a few hours. It's no big deal. As long as you get the energy burned off. You're going to feel side effects for consuming that much energy. You're literally putting nitrous into your tank and sitting at the stoplight when it's supposed to be a quarter-mile race. You feel me? So those are two things that can be challenging. I want to be responsible with the message I put out there. I want to be responsible with the big picture as much as possible because I'm still watching people's accounts. I'm watching everybody. I'm watching people on the junk stuff. I'm watching people on the science. I'll watch for a while for the haters and the trolls, but if they don't bring any information, if they don't bring an argument, if they're just trying to discredit other creators, if they're just making jokes, I see that stuff over in the coaching world where I post content, you know, reaction content. Like, it's cool to have an opinion. Where do you forward the conversation? Where are you applying it in your life? Where are you practicing what you're preaching? Where are you walking what you're talking? If that's not happening, I don't give two shits. I'm not looking to be entertained. I'm looking to be educated, and I'm looking to be beyond empowered to do my own thing. So I want to drop that with you. And in the meantime, I'm going to be right here, except soon to be somewhere else. Wishing you the best and only success, being the best version of myself one could say. Look at that beautiful sun. Beyond forward. That's the workout for the day. Question is, who are you going to be? Peace.